everyone, this is Celina Harrell with Ayre Rhinehart Bay, and today I wanted to go over items that do and do not require building permits, just in case you were planning on doing a project or some home renovation work. And always, if you ever have a question, just go ahead and contact the building department. They've got their cell phone up online. I'll put it down in the description below. And you can always just stop in to really friendly people over at City Hall, and they just renovated it, and it is a historic building, so it is well worth the trip if you do make it. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So we'll start with items that do not require building permits. But first, little caveat. Building permits do not cover installation or changes of. Hey everyone, this is Celina Harrell with Ayre Rhinehart Bay, and today I wanted to go over items that do and do not require building permits, just in case you were planning on doing a project or some home renovation work. And always, if you ever have a question, just go ahead and contact the building department. They've got their cell phone up online. I'll put it down in the description below. And you can always just stop in to really friendly people over at City Hall, and they just renovated it, and it is a historic building, so it is well worth the trip if you do make it. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So we'll start with items that do not require building permits. But first, little caveat. Building permits do not cover installation or changes of electrical, mechanical, and or plumbing work that may be part of the project. Now, separate permits are required for such work, so make sure you know what you're doing before you get started. Planning is always better than just going ahead and doing it. So once again, items that do not require building permits. That includes cabinets and countertops. If you wanted to update your kitchen or your bathroom with some fresh new granite or anything else really. If you go ahead and do that, you don't need to pull a permit for that. Floor coverings like carpet, linoleum, and tile, you don't need a permit for that either. So no excuses, guys. Go ahead and pull out that old carpet, throw down some new stuff or some tile because it is well worth the investment. Painting, either interior or exterior, go ahead and touch up anything that's starting to fade a little bit, or any peeling, because peeling paint can hold up an FHA loan, so don't let that be the reason why you don't sell your house. Now, sheds. We have residential and commercial use here. If it's residential shed, it needs to be 200 square feet or less in order to not pull a permit. For commercial, it's 120 square feet or less. Siding, which includes the soffit, fascia, and awnings, does not require a permit. That's for residential only, not commercial. Now, driveways and sideways, not exceeding 30 inches above the adjacent grade, okay? So you can go ahead and put in your new driveway, just make sure that it's not too high, all right? More items that do not require building permit are garage doors, overhead only, and that's residential only. Interior trim work, go ahead, touch up your trim, it's fine. Play equipment for 1 and 2 family house, if you wanted to throw in a little slide and swing set for your kids, or if you're a landlord looking to make it more family friendly, that's fine for 1 and 2 family households only. Now, windows. Now, the windows are for same size replacements only. If the frame's altered, made smaller or larger, or is changed in width, then a permit is required. Okay, so we just covered items that do not require building permits, so we're going to go ahead and cover items that do require building permits. Now, additions to your house do require building permits, and that also includes a rough and final inspection, so like a before and an after, and that goes for pretty much anything involving the base structure of your house. Accessory structures for commercial properties, for anything 121 square feet and above, requires the rough and final inspections. Accessory structures for residential, zoning approval is required 201 square feet and above, that's for residential accessory structures. Basement and waterproofing systems. Your basement is the foundation of your house, so you want to make sure that it's nice and dry. And that requires a backfill and final inspection. Block and masonry work, that requires a building permit, and it also requires a rough and final inspection. Doors for the exterior entrance and patio requires a permit, and it needs the final inspection only. Drywall, for more than one sheet, it requires a rough and final inspection, because drywall, you want to make sure that that place is solid. So if you're doing more than one sheet, get a building permit. Garage. If you want to build a garage, you need zoning approval, because not all properties are the same. Just like we know, every real estate transaction is different and unique. That's why you need to make sure that the zoning is correct. And it also requires a slab footing and final inspection. Insulation. If you're going to put new insulation in, it needs the rough and final inspection. Structure changes. So if you're going to completely change the structure of your building, it needs a permit. Makes sense, building permit, changing the building. And so that's all interior and exterior load-bearing and or non-load-bearing walls. Then they also require permits. It requires 2 inspections, rough and final. Okay, so that is for like the base building, like if you're doing the basements and the walls. This is more in regards to exterior on the property. So if you're doing a pool, 24 inches in water in depth and more requires a final inspection only, and for above ground bonding and final in ground. I hope that made sense. If you're going to put a pool out there, make sure that you have it set up right. Railings for residential and commercial. You need the exterior and or interior hand or guard railings, and that requires a final inspection only. Ramps. If you're going to put in a ramp for your elderly mother or father, you need to make sure that it's up to code, so you need a building permit, and that requires zoning approval. In case you're like in a condo or something, you want to make sure that you're following their bylaws, because that's important. You don't want to get kicked out. And footing and final inspections are required. Now for roofs. Commercial, they have a separate price there. So if you're getting a commercial roof put on, there's an additional $64.40 that's required as a fee. And that's for new decking, sheeting, new trusses, structure, or pitch change. That requires a rough and final inspection. Just like the basement is the footing of your house, you need your hat on over to make sure that everyone inside stays dry, because that is ultimately your roof is like the most important part of the structure next to the basement, because that keeps everything underneath it protected. So soil erosion requires 2 inspections. Stairs and steps, and those are really important. You need rough and final inspections. And if you're not a builder, then I would highly recommend getting someone who knows what they're doing to put in your stairs and your steps, because that's a pretty important part there. And then last but not least, windows. Now this is not in regards to replacing your current windows. This is only if you are altering the frame size, either making it bigger or smaller. So you do need a building permit for that, and a rough and final inspection is required. And so once again, if you ever have any questions regarding your project that you're trying to do, whether it's putting in new cabinets and floor, or if you want to build a new garage, go ahead and check in with the building department. They have really good people over there, and they can help you succeed in your project to make your house worth more. So that was Celina Harrell with Ayre Rhinehart Bay. If you would like a copy of the PDF of the building permit requirements, go ahead and contact me. I'll be sure to send that to you as soon as you do. And as always, if you need a house sold or bought in Bay County, go ahead and get in touch with me. I would love to sit down and find out what your needs are. So you guys have a great day. Good luck with your projects.